Hi everyone, today is January 13th. What a week, right? So very dramatic week in because everybody was expecting huge move from ETF and the opposite happened. There was good move before ETF, but also that was not a clean move. If you look at this was consolidation and there was a move for sure, but it was not a move which it's not a pump that anyone would expect before ETF and even after ETF was disastrous. It was dump, in fact. So there are two things. One is what I experience over time. I would not say I have decades of experience, but whatever experience I have in TA, that TA provides immense clarity. I like TA. It's not about my TA. It's about anyone who is doing reasonably good TA. I think TA is immensely valuable tool. That's what I and that's what I love about it. Because there are so many things going on, but you get the clarity. When you're driving, there can be cloudy weather, there can be rainy, stormy, but you can see through. And that's the ability the TA provides. That's so amazing. I mean, I'm just praising the it's not about my work, as I said. It's about the field of technical analysis. It's about the techniques of technical analysis that I'm appreciating a lot because because it provides tremendous clarity when it is done correctly. Now, s- and it keeps you on track, always in balance, what is happening. And I always say that, and see, people are always inclined or attracted to news. They love to read about news and interpret. I cannot change their mind, but I think when they see good technical analysis and how price behaves with respect to key levels, they would appreciate and understand that news is not going to help them understanding the price action, but technical analysis. And I'm trying to give examples, and these are live examples that we are seeing over time. I'm not trying to convince them for sure, but I think they need to understand that how to see things. What are the ways we can actually find out the direction eh, and the clarity? That's what I'm trying to. That's what I'm trying to emphasize here. To me, the news events are so noisy, and human mind always look for the events which are favorable. That is another thing. So we have selectivity in what we want to listen. We don't want to listen to something which is not, which doesn't serve our desire. So if there is human bias, so there are many news around it. For example, there was CPI number, which was not good actually. The CPI number was not good. And I mentioned on our channel that this particular factor is the most important factor and a bigger factor than ETF. It was 5 minutes before the report came out. The report was bad. Of course, BTC reflected, even stock market reflected the change. The stock market was more resilient. BTC was more vulnerable in that regard. It was more sensitive, and we saw the price. But the more impact was the next day. But the point is, the factors can be anything. So there are positive factor and the negative factors, and it's very hard to see the net effect. And I always say the net effect is always recognized here using TA because we don't focus on input, we focus on the output. That's the difference between fundamental analysis and the technical analysis, where we focus on the output. So if you think market as a system, and on the left hand side, if you think that there are tens and hundreds of input coming in, entering into the system, and the system, which is a market, deciding what should be the output, which is the price. So instead of focusing tens and hundreds of inputs, we focus only on the output, which is the net result of everything that is going on, or not only just everything that is going on, but what is being anticipated is also part of the input, because price is not just determined by what is happening or what has happened, but also based on what might happen next. So if you think about the input has everything. past, present, and potential future scenarios. And what you get as an output is the price, right? Price, the aggregated result, basically. And that's what I love about TA. So little bit of my view on TA, like as a subject. That's why I love it. Okay, so when you look at BTC, so I think there's nothing much to say, to be honest. Though many things have happened because of news, but when you look at TA, a very simple thing has happened. There was consolidation phase like this. When we'll go to higher level, we'll see more. The lower level is not able to show you the linear or sideway movement. It's more noisy in the 4 hour time frame. But anyway, you will make out that if I draw simple rectangle like we had earlier, first we had this consolidation, then there was a breakout, then you can say uh another consolidation. And so the interesting part is this lower level is being retested multiple times over here, over here, over here. And then this is the third stage, which is like, I'm just breaking down the price section here like this one. In this one also, it retested this level. So R4 that we had here, 41K range, let's say, has been retested multiple times. If you look at this, and each time what you see is new high. So in a way, it is progressing. Remember, this is very tricky, and we had also tricky scenario which we should refer it quickly here. If you look at this one, this was a little different, where the lows were not so low. For example, this was the low. So this was the low, first low, and then retest of this low. But this low was not all the way down, or this low was not all the way down here. So if you look at even the lows were in ascending manner. I mean, lows were making higher lows, so to speak, and the highs were making higher highs, right? High were higher highs. So this was like a channel in a with some angle, but ascending upward moving channel. This was also consolidation, and then a breakout like this one. This consolidation is very different, where initially it was very flat, where you can see upper edge, lower edge, upper edge, and the lower like aligned, and then all of a sudden there was a breakout, but a very brief one, and then a disastrous move. But not a disastrous in a sense that it's not a breakdown in a sense, right? Disastrous means it destroyed the hope. That's why. And but then it quickly recovered and made another high and touched the resistance. And again, this is a nasty one, which retested this one. So if you look at this consolidation, where the highs are not, I mean, if you go at a micro level, this is a low, this is higher low, and this is higher low. But if you don't go in a very micro level, to me, these are like almost the same lows, not a significant highs and lows. Yes, on a high side, this is high, and then this is higher high, and this is higher high. We can see clear move. But on a lower side, almost like the same, but pretty deep one, an aggressive one, unlike this one, which was. So what I'm emphasizing, that understanding the price action is very important. We have to understand. I think we can remove this old stuff. Yeah. When you look at this one from 25K, right? There was a leg up consolidation, very tricky one, then a leg up and a consolidation with some kind of upside move, which is very tricky. Like there are three segments, and this is how I would dissect. Um, in summary, we can say when it comes down, it kind of reset what it gained. But the good thing is there is no new load, so there is no trend level risk as such. When you zoom out, and I think this is the time to zoom out with 1 day. So when you look at this one, let me hide all the drawings for now. So when you look at this move, then a move at 45-degree angle, for an example, and then a near vertical move, and then horizontal, and then little angle. This was a bad one, but this bad one, as I said, didn't make a new low. See, if this would have broken or settled in near 40K, then it's a point of concern to me. This is not a point of concern by any mean. It's crazy, it's disappointing in a way, it's a waste of time, but no way it's something that is threatening the uptrend that is under development. Now, actually, when we were here, I used to talk about one more level that has to be broken above, which I used to tell in month of November, I believe, that I'll tell you when it comes. That is 48K for 50K range. Okay. And then the reaction from that is pretty normal to me. When the price reacts from any support on resistance, I find it comfortable because it is not a surprise. If price retraces something like this out of nowhere, that's a point of concern for me. Concern means how only question like how did I miss it kind of question. Otherwise, it doesn't bother me. Um, so when I zoom out, basically, if you consider this is a second segment, right? If we zoom out, this is the bottom, let's say, and then this is also not easy. Let me tell you, this move from 15K and we are at 43K, right? This is 3x move, right? 3x move, but this 3x move was never comfortable. I mean, unless you are aware what is happening. So when you have this TA with you, it is easy. But when you consider any other factor, it's very difficult to understand to me, in my opinion, because look at this one upside move and a very crazy downside move, and all of a sudden near vertical move, and then crazy downside move for very long, and then this is surprise. This is a big one, resetting everything and consolidation and a huge breakout. This is not easy. If you look at the past previous, it is so easy. Look at this one. Only the tricky part was this one, but this is so simple. Upside move, sideways move, upside move. This was only tricky part, only one, but then it's so simple. Then this is also regular correction and then consolidation and top. This particular bull run from 3K all the way to 60K was so simple in my opinion and so clear. In fact, you don't need a lot of TA in this one, except this one, which is extremely tricky one. But man, this is something. This is not easy. This is not easy. This way is not easy. This is not easy. This is not easy. Um, even this was not easy. Very tough. And this is another level where when I say not easy means not easy for those who have no input to the technical analysis. This is scary for them, especially when they deal with the altcoin. We'll look at we'll go through them. It's very scary for them. But we have to focus on Bitcoin first because that's the guide. We know that. So it's unfortunate that the BTC is still driving all the alts, but that's how it is. I hope it will change because unless that the coins are coupled with Bitcoin, to me there is no fundamental for altcoin. Absolutely no fundamental, whether you agree or not. Fundamental, I mean there are fundamental, but fundamentals are not affecting the price. That's what I mean by not having fundamentals. Means fundamentals are ineffective when we determine price because the BTC is determining everything. So what to do with fundamentals of altcoin? They are useless in my opinion. Um. Anyway, so long story short, this was bad move, but not a concern by any means, right? So let's turn on the drawings. Now I had raised this warning level because that's what we do. We have been raising this, we have raised on this, so this is close, but it's okay. It hasn't broken, right? It has to happen. So there is no assumption. It has to happen. It has to daily has to be closed below this. It hasn't. So not even warning. Risk is even further down. So there is no risk. So if there is no risk, there is no warning. What is the problem? There is no problem. The problem is only in the mind. So that's it from BTC. Let's look at weekly BTC. I mean, daily is clear. Let's look at this chart. So now so this was mentioned last week, if you remember. We mentioned about this and it reacted this one. In fact, it is only thing is it was sharp. I was thinking probably it will go down slowly. It was sharp, so I'll adjust this one. And in fact, it didn't come down all the way here. So if it consolidates here and goes up, then it's fantastic. Okay? If it's fantastic, then that's fantastic. So, so this scenario was uh, discussed last week, and it happened. It didn't touch this one, that's fine. But okay, keep on mute, please. We are recording here. Okay, so yeah, so the good thing is it didn't break below, it stayed above, but it retraced. The only thing is it came down faster than what I thought. But that's something speed cannot be analyzed by anyone. TA cannot analyze the speed. And because the speed cannot be analyzed by any TA, you can have some estimation, but you cannot be accurate in terms of speed. Then because of the speed is not possible to analyze, the angle of the wave cannot be determined. Means you have to fine tune sometime, like what I did just now. um this was an arrow, so if this was not the case, then probably uh this would have reached over here if this was not a, so this is more like a detour. So that's what happens. Sometime one dip can change everything, sometime a pump can change everything. So the angle of the wave right now, the mean angle is this one. So this could change based on some kind of downside move or some kind of pump. It changes and we have to just fine tune it. There's nothing wrong about it. So changing this angle is not a problem. That's something no we can do it. We can project it, but we cannot say this is the angle, which I think I mentioned about it. So we reached here in month of January. If this was not without this, we could have reached earlier. And that's how we are delayed by a quarter, right? But you never know. There can be a huge pump and it can move the price up. So this thing that I'm saying, see, I have to adjust like this, which is totally fine. So we could see another move up on 66K. However, this is more applicable actually only when it breaks above this. So I should start this yellow arrow above this layer, right? Because it has to reach and break above, then only we can say it's going for previous all-time high. We cannot just assume it. So when it is here, we are saying we are not worried because it's here, it's not here, right? But at the same time, we have to say it has to break above. So what we can say, this is simply consolidation zone, a large one on a weekly time frame, where this is a range where 40K to 50, 48K or 50K is a range that it has to break above for it to get the next one. So on a weekly basis, it's not about price, it's about the big range that we talk about, right? When we track at a lower time frame, we talk about more about the price and a certain level. When we track on a weekly level, don't try to be very picky about the price, because that's not the intent. On a week, when you track on a weekly, the intent is the zone that we have, like this zone, and kind of layers. You have to think in terms of layers, and you have to think in terms of direction. So the mindset is very different when you track at a weekly and a lower time frame like daily. It's very different set of mind you need and point of view. You cannot be just about comparing the exact dollar numbers. Okay. So when we look at weekly, it's about health of the trend. So this health is very good, right? But it is here, which is a checkpoint, a big checkpoint where it retraced, but it hasn't broken this one, so we're good. Remember the worst case scenario, this could continue. This could worst case scenario I'm talking about and come down deeper. it could come down deeper. Now, this could happen if the DXY go crazy. And I had highlight, and we're going to see that again. Because the DXY is indicating upside move, which you are going to see. BTC on this, it has touched. Look at this. I haven't changed anything. Last week, it has touched this one, right? So this is achieved. We can say the whole entire move is complete. And last time, this is what I mentioned, that if there was no such downside move, we could have reached here somewhere in September. But this is kind of a detour. I mean, a delay, so to speak. But we got it. So this is clear. But this is not to be assumed that this is major one. This is major checkpoint for it to go all-time high. And once this is broken or settled above, if we get a weekly close above 50K, to me, mm, all-time high and higher is not a problem. All-time high is going to be another resistance for sure, but that's not going to be a trouble, in my opinion. If there is any trouble, the trouble is going to be somewhere here, not today, not until now. What I'm saying is how the next week unfolds, we have to see that. So I'm very interested in how the next week unfolds. If it continues to recover and reaches here and breaks out, then that's what we want, right? But if it struggles, it bounces, which is right now it's bouncing, and it always bounces after a major move like that. But how high it bounces, I'm going to monitor that in next few days. Man, my life is always like this. I thought there's always some cool off, but there's never a cool off time. But that's how it is. Uh, so I have to monitor how high it goes, and once it goes high enough, then I would say, okay, now it's likely to break above. At this moment, if I had to summarize, I would say this: the recovery, this particular point, which was the point of rejection, now it is achieved. What has happened is it took nearly 2 years, nearly 2 years, let's say 20 months, for this to regain this level. So we lost this level, we gain after 20 months, but we got it, right? So that's an achievement, right? Because so many people were talking about 10K, 6K, whatever, rubbish. I mean, scenario wise, yes, but some people were very much adamant about those crazy levels. When you talk about scenario, it's okay to talk about lower level scenarios, but probability wise, they must be aware, they have to take side. So from our side, like as a group, as a family, I think we got it right, and we got the point. Now we have to reach this, and that's something we have to monitor. As I mentioned, for one day we have to just keep an eye on those warning level. If the warning level is breached, you have to be careful, and you take care of your position as you think. Just a point to be mentioned here. If that level is not, those levels are not breached, means everything is fine, maybe some delay, but there's no issue as far as technical analysis is concerned, right? So consider those levels in mind, right? And you will use that for your planning point of view. So otherwise, there's absolutely nothing to worry. The recovery can happen in matter of a day or a week. And to me, that doesn't matter much, because if it pumps, then it can recover. Like you look at this pump, it was so fast that it really covered the ground very quickly. So that's what happens. That's what I see here. So only in the negative scenario, I think we should look at DXY, and that's the only concern that I have. I mean, when we talk about concern, I mean, it's a concern, not a present day concern, but something that we cannot ignore, and something we should keep an eye. That's what I mean. So look at DXY. Okay. So DXY, we have this chart. Yeah. So DXY, we last week it bounced. This week, it's doji candle, means indecisive. It doesn't know what to do. What we don't want is to break above 104.4, let's say, or 5. We don't want that to happen. When I look at I think I posted the pattern. That pattern is not on this one, but I posted the pattern yesterday. That's very important pattern. Okay. But I'll try to draw that pattern on this layout because this layout doesn't have any drawing. I don't want to clutter that other one. Let me simplify. See, let me simplify. Okay, understood. This is a downside move. And then we saw this was pump from BTC in January, then dump from BTC, pump, dump, and BTC follows not day by day, but on a weekly basis, it does follow. And we know that BTC had hard time during this time, right? And then BTC formed during this time. So this chart is so important. This cannot be ignored. What I don't want to see is this. It's not in my hand or your hand. And only thing this is going to happen. I'm going to mark this with red because it's a red thing for us, right? This is actually green thing for us from crypto point of view. This is a red, though it's out going up, it's a red thing. We don't want this to happen, right? It means that it must continue to go down for us to like if it and this was mentioned like zigzag manner, right? Like this zigzag manner, like this. We would like this, whatever, something like this. It can be high, right? But something like this. We would like to see this. Um, and of course we don't want this. And this could happen only if the inflation goes up. So the December inflation was high, which was not a good data point in my opinion. So it's a January month. So that actually the stock market and crypto market, what I learned from some experts, especially stock market, went up because March cut was expected. Now the March cut was expected by the market, like 100% of the people, almost 100% of the people, majority of the people. But I saw that people have started changing their view because the CPI for December was higher than expected, though not a significantly high, but it didn't go down and went up a little bit. So I saw that now they're talking about rate cut in month of May, not in month of March. That means they're changing view. Now, it doesn't mean that the stock market will assume that it will go down, but in my opinion, if they are now expecting rate cut in May. Nobody's talking about rate hike, but delay of rate cut. But if the January numbers are high, then things could change, in my opinion. So maybe this month we are fine, but when the February month comes, and then the January data are out for CPI, and that's what I think it's a big checkpoint. Because if that January numbers are high, which we'll learn in next month, then there's going to be significant impact, negative impact on crypto, in my opinion, and stocks, because then the market would understand that Fed is not going to cut rate, and potentially they could even hike. Depends on the data, though, right? It depends on the data, inflation data. So that's the scenario. So far there is nothing that there is no immediate threat as such. But I think down the line, we have to have another checkpoint where we don't want inflation number to be high. So I've been saying this. If we have to worry about BTC, I think there are only two killers in my point of view, if you ask me. One is the inflation number, which we talked about, and we always talk about every week. And second thing is Craig Wright's case versus Copa. I don't take it lightly. It is a serious matter. It starts on 5th of February, delayed by a month. Now, I'm not taking any side as I mentioned. I always clarify, otherwise some people might misunderstand me. But I don't ignore the case because it's in the UK High Court, and it's going to be very simple, in my opinion. If he wins, then BSV is likely to flip BTC. I have no doubt about it because as a as an it's my opinion, of course, it's my opinion. because if he's Satoshi, I want to be with Satoshi. And from a technology background point of view, to me, this BSV is in the right direction in terms of scaling solution on layer one. So I like that approach. So I have bias from a technology point of view. From a TA point of view, absolutely no bias. And overall, I have absolutely no bias because he hasn't won the case. So, but my stand, if I just look at technology, I find that the BSV technology is superior than BTC. Just because the scaling solution is in place, there is no layer two like Lightning Network, which I don't consider as Bitcoin because there is no Bitcoin on Lightning Network. People are fooled actually. And that it's not their fault because they are non-technical people. Bitcoin is a protocol. It cannot exist outside Bitcoin protocol. And Lightning Network is a different protocol. It's as simple as that. What they're routing on Lightning is not Bitcoin. It's a native token. People don't understand this. So there is a lot of misinformation and misunderstanding about what core team is doing. And again, I'm not promoting BSV. What I'm saying is I like the technologies. I'm again clarifying because to me, I would support any technology, whether it's Ethereum or Solana or Matic, anything that actually delivers the product which is usable. For me, everything, without any exception, everything is overvalued. If you ask me, everything, each and every coin is overvalued because they are not a viable product. Yes, they are a usable product in some sense, but with respect to their price, they are pricey. They're not supposed to be that high. Market cap of millions and billion doesn't make sense. It's everything is speculative in my point of view. However, things when the reality catches up with the price, that's what market is anticipating. So the market is way ahead of the reality, and that is also the case in stocks. When you look at the PE of the stocks, the price against the earning, the price is always ahead of the earnings 20 times, 30 times, sometimes Tesla liking 80 times. Why? Because they think that the Tesla or something like some growing company would deliver. So the PE runs ahead. When the company matures, the PE comes down. And when it is not a growth company, the PE is always in tens or twenties, which is considered to be the best one. But still, it is not 101. Why? Because it's always about the future cash flow and the growth. And that's why the stocks are always ahead. Um, and stock price is always ahead. But when you look at crypto, probably crypto is like if you have to, there's no, let's say earning is replaced with actual fundamentals, which is usability. Let's say how would you measure the value of crypto in fundamental ground? To me, I would measure in terms of real world transaction. Like let's say if I want to send money, I'm using crypto, not the banks. So that amount I would contribute that crypto is able to move that amount. Or let's say if you want to buy a ticket, let's say some show, entertainment, movie ticket, and you use crypto. So that's you haven't used USD or your native fiat currency, but use crypto. So basically, a commercial transaction I consider as the real fundamental, not the transaction on the exchanges. So if you ask me, I would aggregate all the commercial transaction happens using crypto. And right now, Ethereum is on a higher side because commercially it is a viable product. Only thing is the scaling thing is a question mark. And so if they nail the scaling part, then it can be much better than. So it's in my point of view, it's much better than BTC, but it has to go a long way. So anything like Solana, even that is being used for NFT or so real commerce, I'm talking about. So any coin that is in real commerce, that's the real. So amount of transaction they do in real commerce, this is what I consider as the real value. And then market cap you compare with that real value. So if the market cap is 1 billion and if they're doing the commercial transaction only for 1 million, that's the gap I'm talking about. That means the PE is kind of 1,000. So we are trading something which is like 1,000 P. I'm assuming 1 million is a commercial transaction and 1 billion is a market cap. Then there is a difference with 1,000x difference. So then that means there is a PE of 1,000, means you are the 1,000 times expensive. As simple as that. I mean, again, you can debate on it, you can disagree. That's fine. That's my point of view. I don't consider market cap on the exchange is the real value. Anyway, that's my point of view, as I said. Right. So, coming back to my point, everything is pricey, in my opinion. Everything is pricey. So I don't take any side. So only two factors that I mentioned, that the inflation number and the case, um, and the Craig versus Copa case. These are the only two major factors that I consider that could change the trajectory of BTC. Not just BTC, but everything in crypto, in my opinion. So these are the only two risks, fundamental point of view. So let's look at 10-year yields. The 10-year yields, good. This week it has come down. Good. So this was a very deadly move after a long time, but it has come down. But it has come down, but not broken. So we have to see whether it takes the red path or a green path. Right now it's right here. But right now it's on the green path for sure. But if this orange layer is broken above, then it will take the red path, in my opinion, and that will be bad. Nevertheless, if you look at the big picture, the trend is not broken by any angle. By any angle, this is not broken, right? So it has to break this support for that to happen. So that's why. So DXY trend is not broken. Bond yields trend is not broken. That's why I don't talk about BTC new all-time high, whether you like it or not. That's my stand. I want these things to go down badly, because these if they stay up above, that means the market is not favoring. So maybe there's always a front run on crypto and stock, but they cannot last long if this thing continue to go up. So very straight for an analysis. Okay, like in Nasdaq, as you could see, it made new all-time high briefly and then came down, but it found a support and nice. So it could continue to go up. But if, as I said, if the numbers are unfavorable, this could take time and erase everything. I think it happened in large cycle. I don't have the data here, but you can look at in S&P when the dot-com bubble happened, and then 2008, it was more like a double top, a little higher, but that's what happened. Okay, let's look at all the alts. Amazing APT. What can I say? It's following the path, right? It's taking off. It took off from this RB, even despite of all these challenges. It's look at this, so amazing. So it's in a recovery path, as you could see. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. This, especially this week, is confirming it's not giving up. BSV is in between two ranges. This is fine, and this coin has a special purpose, as I mentioned. So the little bit of price action doesn't matter. I'm giving you resistance, but this is not for resistance, to be honest. This is like a hedge, and as I mentioned, if he wins, then it can it can devastate the market. That's why. So the purpose of BSV is totally different. Doge has stopped going down, which is good, right? Little bit of downside because of BTC, which makes sense. Otherwise, this is good. Good to see. So you can say this is a local support, the recent low, and then it will try to regain this and break out. But if from a big picture point of view, the whole entire thing is bottom formation, which is like huge, like 20 months. So BTC is here. Remember, this was a point of rejection in April 2022, which I mentioned. BTC is already here and Doge is here. So what you see is the coin with a momentum are ahead in the game. Coin which are not being bought, you may say, or paid attention, are behind. That's the difference. And sometimes one bump can change everything. So that's what we have to see, right? So BTC is here in terms of achievement compared to this April 22, 2022. Doge is here. That means Doge is not being bought. Ah, beautiful. I just seen this one. This is perfect touch R3, right? I'll give you R4 later on. There's no hurry. Once it's broken above, R4 should be somewhere in near 3,500, which I'll share with you. So this is a perfect move. As I said, when it hits the resistance, I love it. So yesterday, Ethereum was not going down. In fact, when BTC was crashing, Ethereum was holding out for a few hours. It melted only when BTC went down below about 5%, like more than 5% drop. Then only it melted. Otherwise, it was holding up pretty good. But I like to this is a good one. First of all, breakout was successful, and it broke, and not just breakout, but also hit 2,700, which was the perfect hit. So this is a happy moment. FET FET is consolidating, and which we mentioned that it could take some time here, right? Eventually, so we can just adjust it like this, which is not a big deal. That's what I was talking about. Sometime we cannot figure out the length of the consolidation. We can always adjust a bit, right? But this is good thing. You see, again, if we talk about April 2022, Bitcoin is here, Bitcoin is here, Doge is here, FET is here. You see my point? April 2022, compare. So FET is ahead in the game, even ahead of BTC. That means it has better momentum than BTC. Filecoin is also forming bottom. It has retested as well, not broken. You see, that's what I like it. So touch this one, came down all the way, right? That's totally fine. I think I can remove this requirement. This is this doesn't have any purpose now. As long as it doesn't break S1 and go towards A, level A, I think there's absolutely nothing to worry, technically speaking. So it is following this path. And again, as I said, this is like April, it, this is August. Little different setup. April is this. So it's way behind. So BTC is here. Wow. Hmm. But you never know. There can be huge vertical pump and could be through. But yeah, this is bottom formation. FTM, a similar thing, very horizontal move, very different setup. So it has touched the X. But this is not a problem. It's creating nice symmetry in my point of view. So it could take whole entire month before it goes up. That's how it is. And that's so we recognize this pattern, remember, when it was coming down, it followed this, and now it is following this. INJ is range bound. This is a range, right? 45 to 429 is a range. So it's just taking time, which is fine. KAS is spending some time near support, which is now resistance. It's basically this support was broken. Now that is acting as resistance. It's trying to break up. Link is a range bound, as I mentioned. This could take time, and looking at the consolidation, it could take some weeks. Matic is recovering quickly from the recent dump. It didn't break level A, which is good. So it will try to go up. We don't need this because they are not at a critical level, and it's okay. You can track these levels. So it's basically following this pink trajectory. RNDR has touched the R1, which is good. When I say, I mean, it's no good. When I say good means it hasn't broken. That's what's good, right? So and now it's bouncing off, which is now RNDR price action is very tricky. If you track it 1 day or something, you'll go crazy because it's so volatile. I mean, I don't like lower time frame. It's not clean as we said. I mean, it's very noisy. On a weekly level, it's decent, but if you go down, it will it will really it's really, I mean, it's unpleasant. You don't like to track lower time frame. This RNDR. It is full of surprises. You cannot trade on a lower time frame. I mean, it's extremely challenging. But anyway, so it's bouncing. So next one is R3. You know that, right? That's it. Very simple. I can remove this. If you like arrow, I can add arrow. It's not a problem. I mean, it's obvious. Okay, dokie. Arun, this is still consolidating. A little lower, fine, not a big one. Touch R3, trying to break above the resistance, which is fine. So looks like a larger consolidation zone. So when it is in consolidation zone, remember it is likely to take time, right? So those you can take clues from what I'm saying and decide what to do. Right? I don't advise that way. SOL is now bouncing. The recovery could be V-shaped, or we have to see. It's too early to say that. We have to see how next week goes. Right now, it's sluggish. Nevertheless, this is very positive. So it is still within the box, which is good. TI has momentum. This is crazy coin. Look at that. It has broken about R3 heading for R4. Very simple. Do I have to explain anything? I don't think so. It had only two red candle weekly, otherwise all green. This is also like RNTR. If you go on lower time frame, it could make you crazy. You have to tag at a higher time frame, now 3 day, maybe 3 day or higher. 3 days, okay, decent. Like this, you can see what is happening. Like touched, support, touch, consolidation, breakout, retest, touch, breakout. Simple, very simple. Okay, so that's it then. With this note, I think we've gone through everything that is essential. So we'll have to see how next week comes. As I mentioned, I think we have to just keep an eye on the XY one use, which I'll do, and that's it then. Thanks everyone.